Hey guys, it's Will. Welcome back to the channel, Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. You know what it is. VHS o'clock, my friends. This is a very, very exciting video for me. So as you may know, it was maybe like a couple months ago, I announced the fact that we have officially been affiliated with Loyola Marymount University, which is in Los Angeles, for film preservation stuff and for building an archive of Hong Kong cinema materials, which we're hopefully going to be working with the library to do that. I was made an affiliate professor and a scholar in residence in the Marymount Institute, which is a scholarly institute at LMU. So, since then, some people have reached out to me asking me about that, asking me what we're doing with the archives and stuff like that. And one of those people, who's someone I have interacted with on social media, on YouTube and stuff, his name is Adam, sent me this very kind email and was like, hey, I have some items I think you might be interested in for the archive. And we talked a little bit, and I was like, that sounds amazing, and he went into the history of kind of these items and stuff like that. And so I actually had to do some research on these items, too. They are Tai Seng VHS tapes. I'm going to show them to you in just a second. And Adam was actually helpful enough to point me towards these old archives of these Google groups from going back to, like, I found posts in this group going back to 1994. Like, I was barely even on the internet in 1994, and these are, like, all of these extensive posts in these Google groups about, to be honest with you, if you would have asked me a week ago when Google groups existed, I would have said like maybe like 2000 to 2010. This is like 94, 95, 97. Like, it's really cool. So I went on there and I read all this information about Tai Seng. Now, Frank Zheng, who does commentary tracks, Frank Zheng, excuse me, for Eureka, and there's one on the Throwdown release, which I have over here, and he's doing commentary tracks on a couple upcoming releases, one on Boxer and Time and Tide, which are both coming out in May from Eureka. He worked for Tai Seng, and so he was on these forums having conversations with people who, and I have to say, I went into the forums, I tried to read a little bit about the history of Tai Seng and stuff, but I got out of there pretty quickly, because, like, oh man, I mean, if you're familiar with Asian cinema and Hong Kong cinema, and like if you go on the internet and you read forums, it's not always a pleasant place to be. for people who are native English speakers, right? Or who speak English fluently, I guess, and who love these movies. There are amazing people in these communities. That's the first thing I'm going to say. I've met so many incredible people through doing this channel. I don't want to badmouth the community in general, but there are bad apples. And you know what I'm talking about if you've been involved in this, right? Where these people become like obsessively possessive of these movies, and they say that everyone else is an idiot and no one knows anything but them. And they're just so negative and they're so mean. And I had to get out of the forum because there are a lot of people in these forums, and only like a handful of the people were bad, but those bad people, their posts were everywhere and they're such dicks. And I'm like, I can't read this. It's just too hateful and negative. But I did go in and read about the history of Tai Seng, and so basically they cornered the market on Hong Kong releases on VHS in the mid to late 90s, and because they were the only place where these people could get these films, other than I think like imports from Hong Kong, which were more like in Chinatown or bootleg stores and stuff like that, they charged a lot of money. They would do stuff like divide tapes in two, and they would edit movies and in ways that would really piss fans off, and sometimes in ways that would make no sense and stuff like that. But it really was the only place to get these movies. So there's this love-hate thing of like, we have to go to Tai Seng to get this stuff if you're somewhere where you can't go to Chinatown or whatever, get the imports or the bootlegs or whatever. And so it's just really interesting going down that rabbit hole and reading about that. So the two Tai Seng VHS tapes that we are adding to our archive, that Adam was nice enough to send to me, that I'm very, very excited about. I'm going to show off to you here and talk about Drunken Master 2, Legend of the Drunken Master. Now, this is interesting for a couple reasons. First of all, that's Vietnamese. So, and there's some Vietnamese on the back here, too. So what Adam said to me in his email was that probably what happened was they ran out of the English-only sleeves, and they put one on here that has some Vietnamese on it, or it was a mistake on someone's part. The other thing that's interesting about this is that it says... let me think. I'm trying to remember where, because it's marked. The movie is marked, but I'm trying to see where on the tape it's marked. I think it's here. Yeah, so it says A, right? Oh yeah, and on the cover, here it is. I couldn't see that because I was showing it to you. Part A, right? And then it says A here. Now, remember I mentioned that they would cut movies into two parts to put them on two tapes in order to make more money off of it, right? But this is a lot of tape on here. And this is a 102-minute movie, and it lists the full length as 102 minutes. Now, I don't have a VCR right now, which you may have heard me talk about. About 6 or 7 years ago, I gave my VCR to a friend of mine who needed it for something, and I just haven't gotten another one since then. So I wasn't able to pop this in and watch, but I think this is the full movie from what I was told by Adam, and that it was just it's been mismarked as being part A when in fact it is the whole thing. So there you go. That is the Tai Seng VHS release with the Vietnamese writing here on the cover of Drunken Master 2, and I have another one for you. Now, this release here, as I bend out of frame, is notorious because it was edited. 10 minutes were removed from the kind of the standard cut of this film, and it really angered fans. And the movie rather, is bullet in the head. Now, I know that people on this channel absolutely love this movie. You know that I really love this movie, and I have a tremendous admiration for this movie too, because it's such an incredible film. And here you go on the back. So it's listed as 118 minutes. I did a fair amount of Googling, and I tried to figure out what is cut out of this movie that is not in the 30-minute version, right? And a lot of what I was reading was that this has the same cut as a Laserdisc. I don't know if that was also released by Tai Seng, or if the Laserdisc got it from this VHS tape. And I don't know if that's true, because again, I don't have that Laserdisc. It's just something that I read as I was reading about this. But it's a lot of sites and reviewers list this cut at 120 minutes, not 118. But on the back here, I believe, yeah, it says, I don't know if you can see that, but it says 118 minutes. So I know that's a bit of a mystery to me too, but from what I was reading, I couldn't find a single source where someone went through and was like, this is missing, this is missing, this is missing. The ending, from what I understand in this, is the car chase ending, which is like the ending that I think most of us are used to, right? Not like the boardroom scene ending or anything like that. And what was removed it's like scenes and footage throughout, basically. And again, I told you I don't have a VCR right now, unfortunately, so I wasn't able to pop this in and kind of compare. But we do have, once campus is open again and once COVID-19 is kind of winds down, we have the ability to digitize VHS. And so what I want to do is I want to digitize these releases. I've got the John Woo releases here. I've got the A Better Tomorrow VHS release from the UK, which you saw me talk about before. I want to digitize all of those and maybe post footage. We could post clips, maybe specifically to our Patreon, so that people who help us buy these things. Obviously not with this, because this was someone who donated it to us, right? But with other stuff, if we buy stuff on eBay or whatever, maybe we would put that on our Patreon so people can go in and look and stuff like that. So there you go. And there's actually one more thing in this box that I would like to show you. That I think is kind of super cool. That was a nice little bonus that I didn't know was going to be in here. It is a VCD, and as you know, I've been kind of amassing VCDs recently as people have been sending to me, and I think that's super, super cool. So this is not a film I'm familiar with. It's called The Contract, and it was released in the 70s. I looked it up. Michael Hui is in it, and Ricky Hui. It's a comedy. So let me read it to you. Chi Man, an aspiring but frustrated artist. His brother is a self-made investor who has just come up with a laugh bomb. By chance, Chi Man pinch hits as a compere of a cat TV program. With the aid of the laugh bomb, he becomes an instant success, but he cannot sign up with Cat TV because of his other contract. So it's like kind of like it seems like a silly like situational comedy. But I'm really excited to watch this. As you've heard me talk about on this channel, I haven't seen too many Hong Kong comedies. Like, I've seen, obviously, the Jackie Chan, like, action comedy stuff. And I've seen some Stephen Chow movies, and I've seen some Chow Yun-fat films. But a lot of Hong Kong comedies are just, it's not stuff that I've delved into, because I spent most of my time watching action and martial arts films. So I'm really excited to learn more about and to investigate more Hong Kong comedies. So I'm very excited about this. It's called The Contract, which I believe is a comedy. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. If you have more information about Tai Seng, or if you have thoughts about them that you'd like to share. I really am still learning about this. Like, in that era, mid to late 90s, I was unaware of these VHS tapes coming out. I was not collecting them. Especially in the late 90s, like 1998 onward, I was living in Vermont, kind of like in the middle of nowhere. And so I didn't even have access to like a place that would have videotapes like that. Like, we had a great video store in my town, but it was not importing like Tai Seng tapes and stuff like that, you know. It's really exciting for me to learn more about this. I had a great correspondence with Adam about these things. He pointed me at some great websites where I could read about these things. So huge thanks to Adam for sending these to me. We're adding to the archives, we're adding to the collections. This is really, really exciting to me. You've been watching Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. My name is Will. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.